Welcome to Aligned for Success podcast, where we help chiropractors create practices that truly serve their life's vision. I'm your host, Dr. Nikki and I'm here to show you how to break free from stagnation, grow your practice, and rediscover the joy of why you became a chiropractor to begin with. Whether you're looking to boost your revenue, spend more time with family, or simply enjoy practice life again, you're in the right place. Let's align your path to success. What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Aligned for Success. I am here with genuinely my very best friend in the whole entire universe. That is Dr. Matt Griswold. Dr. Matt is located in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where he has several chiropractic offices. And he's not only one of my best friends, he's one of the most amazing chiropractors as far as building a business, being resilient, overcoming just a lot of crap. And I would love for Dr. Matt to just share his story about everything that he's not only achieved, but all of the stuff he had to overcome to get there. So welcome, Matt. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. And she doesn't lead on. We have been friends for over a decade. I think we're on what years? 15, 20?
It's 20 years almost.
Oh, God. Well, it's because I've gotten older. I don't have a degree if it's not for Dr. Nikki. She used to share her notes with me and make sure that I did all the things. I passed my own test. I didn't cheat off of her, but I definitely read all of her charts and all of her notes. And even till today, I still have some handwriting in some old notebooks that I can tell you is Nikki's name.
That is not your own handwriting, right? Happy to help. And I'll say too, I helped you through school. You helped me for sure through my first few years of practice, 100%.
I think that's important. I think that especially if you're looking at a young doctor or somebody that's coming out, that aligning yourself with those, the people that were from school, that you could align your ideals, because everybody's got different skill sets and everybody's pushing towards the same thing. And if you can just lean on some of those deep relationships that you've made, for both you and I would say that's helped quite a bit of our success, is just being able to jump on the phone and saying, I've seen this, I've done this. And I also want to say that that's perfect for what you're doing in this podcast, basically, is being able to hear what the hurdles that people have overcome, because there are going to be some. That I can promise you. It's just how resilient can you be? And I like the way that you put that.
Well, it's like on social media, people portray owning a business as this really easy, fun, glamorous, no problems ever type of thing. And I think we both know that that is just simply not the case. So go ahead and tell us your journey to where you are now.
Yeah, so I'm a chiropractor because my mother had two failed lower back surgeries. They were both failed surgeries. There was some medicine that was involved. And you know what? I purposely and passionately don't want people to go through what we went through as a family. And so that's why I do what I do. And that's the lens that it's filtered through. And so I'm obviously a little bit passionate about being a chiropractor and what we do. I think that we have the greatest healthcare product in the world. And we just have to explain it in a fashion and form that you'll buy it from us. And so that we can show you how great chiropractic is. And so that's how I've been practicing for coming up on year 12 in office, year 13 out of school. So the truth is that's how I've done my practice. And sometimes when you do it that way, not everybody agrees with you that chiropractic is the best thing on the planet. You get a little pushback and you get a little resilience. So I opened a practice on a shoestring budget. And I say that on purpose because I was not, I started with nothing. I started with $10,000 and I was working at the time. My first year, I was waiting tables at night and seeing patients during the day. I literally was like the Johnny Cash chiropractor. I showed up in an all black shirt and black pants for my first year. So I say that because I did whatever it took. I was willing to do whatever it takes. And that was from my jump off position, was saying, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, no matter what. We now own 3 clinics and we do very well. We've got some other businesses, but being willing to do whatever it takes from the jump is important. I'm old enough and started practice in a time when X-ray had chemical. Did you get chemicals, Nick, when you
I
first
sure
started?
did. Yeah. I got digital in 2018. I had chemicals, darkroom. Oh yeah.
My first one.
Dinosaur X-ray. Yeah, my X-ray machine was from 1986. I just had to replace it this past year. So
You got mileage out of that.
yeah, I definitely got my money's worth.
My first X-ray room was a closet. I only had 1,000 square feet in my first office, and so it was a closet. And I was a size 12 shoe, so I had to go in there and turn my feet out and close the door. And that's how I had to process X-rays, with my feet externally rotated so that I could be in the room and keep processing X-rays. So to say I've seen it from the beginning is an understatement, and to say I understand it is an understatement. I have done the weight tables, and I think, Nick, you've done some jobs that you didn't want to do just to make it work, and I'm willing to work. As far as my story goes, we practice a corrective care office and change spines. I like before X-rays. I like after X-rays. I want to see what happened. I want to make sure that what we're selling is making a change in the spine, not just that they're subjectively telling me that, but objectively we can achieve that. That being said, insurance companies don't always love that that's how you practice. And because of that, I would tell you one of our greatest overcoming factors is that when you build a big practice, people come to watch you burn, right? And you got a target on your back. And so I have in 2018, I received a letter from BCBS that said I lied to you. In 2019, I received a letter from a visit count in August of 18 that said, on this date, did you work 21 hours seeing patients? And I said, no. And on this date, did you work 23 hours seeing patients? And I said, no. He said, then how did you see so many people in a day and provide so many services? Obviously, you know what that means. That triggered an audit. And we were doing very, very well. And we got audited. We got popped for a big audit. They went through everything. And when I say they went through everything, they went through everything. By the way, just heads up, if you ever get an audit, they will turn off all insurance billables. And how it works is it's really interesting. They'll send you a letter with a request for every claim that they want to audit. They don't come out and look in your files like I think they taught us in school that they're going to come. You're really screwed if they do that, heads up. But typically, they'll send you a letter and they want you to attach your chart note to the letter per patient, then per visit, not per patient, per visit or treatment service, and then they want you to fax it back to them. Well, I can be a little bit of a jackwagon sometimes. And so when we did that, I told them that I did not have a fax machine. So when we did all of our chart notes, we had 6 boxes. I have a photo of it. We had 6 boxes of paper ream. You know, when you get those big things of paper in a box. I shipped 6 boxes of charts and notes to BCBS. They called me and said that I should never submit another chart like that to them again. I said, I don't own a fax machine, so I didn't know how to do it. That was my kind of like big up there.
Yeah, if you're going to do that, here's all these boxes. Have fun, go through it.
Exactly. What had happened was I had known that they were working quite a bit remote. And so when I sent it in, I was like, no, they're going to have to go through this old school. You guys going to screw me? Here's one to you right back. And I responded to them with saying, I don't have to send any more because all the notes that you guys have requested are in those 6 boxes. That was an audit for $219,000. I wrote a check for $19,000 and we went our separate ways. I still use BCBS. I never had any problems with them again. I want you to know, though, it doesn't make me afraid to build a big practice. And so, like, I know that guys get out of school and you in the insurance game, you get scared to grow because it's like, well, they're going to come get me. Then make it where it's okay if they do. We had the notes. We did the charts. They wanted to know, why are you so big and how are you making so much money? And we're paying you too much money, so we're going to come look. Be good enough. Plan to be good enough. If you're a rookie or you're a young doctor getting started, have your systems dialed in so that you come look. Come over here and look and see what I'm doing. because I'm doing it the right way. And that's what got me out of trouble. Did I have to write a $19,000 check? Yep, I did. Because I did STEM on federal employees, and they don't cover federal employees, something of that effect. So they had a loophole. They still got a little bit of money from me, but it wasn't $219,000.
No, big difference.
Huge change. And so I encourage that if you're listening and you're looking for motivation, you just want to hear some hard knocks. I mean, I've run into people that were scared to grow because they were scared of getting in trouble. It's like, just be good enough that it doesn't matter. And I don't know that I knew that I was planning on being good enough that it didn't matter. I think that it was just a part of my nature, as a part of what we're trying to do here. I mean, this is how I feed my family. This is the game. Nikki will tell you, I had to bust my butt to get through school, but we keep score in a different way when we get out of school. It's not the grades are to me, and what vacation can I take my family on? What experience can I do that my parents couldn't give to me? What can I give to mine? That's the score. And so your work that you're putting in at the practice should be through that lens of what can I do for my family? And then you become a perfectionist and you become OCD about the things and systems, because that's where you're successful.
So good. I think too, you bring up a great point of, a lot of times we're afraid to make more money because when we're growing up, we hear all of these negative things about people who have money, right? So, oh, they have a lot of money. They must be doing something illegal, or they must be doing something wrong, or people only make money from scamming people. So if you make a lot of money, you must have been doing something wrong. So it's not only awesome that you didn't have that limiting belief of I'm not supposed to make money because it means I did something wrong, but even if someone tried to slap you on the wrist, you were like, hey, I'm actually doing everything right. I'm just really good at what I'm doing. And you didn't let that stop you from continuing to grow your practice, continuing to build your practice. That's such a great lesson, especially for people who are new. I know that a lot of people open their practice now and they're cash, but 13 years ago, when we all opened a practice, cash was not the thing. It was like insurance. So people now aren't even learning how to do it. And I think that also plays a role in, not saying you should have a cash practice or insurance, but if you're not doing it because you don't know how, that's also figure it out, right? So how can you learn how to do it?
I think that here's my situation on that is I want every opportunity to get you face down on the table. How does it have to be? Do I have to be in insurance? Okay, cool. You want to use that? We can do that. Can I be in cash? Let's go with that. But for me and what I have to do, I have to get them face down on the table so that I can show them what chiropractic can do. And then we'll make a whole bunch of money off of those things. So I have different ways to get them there.
Sure. Switch them to, eventually get them on a wellness plan, whatever that looks like, for sure. Yeah.
And I think that especially when you're starting out, you can, because I think if we broke it down to this, Nikki, it would be the fear of the unknown, right? With insurance game, or I'm scared of this or scared of that. I'm not telling you to get an insurance or not. I'm just saying, well, if you have fear of the unknown, then go find out what's unknown. And then you don't have fear of that anymore. So now we can move to the next thing. And that's what's cool about practice. The numbers that show up in your bank account, and I don't even care what the volume is, the numbers that show up in your bank account dictate the success that you're doing at the office.
That's right.
It takes how much loving care to give, to love, and to serve out of a sense of abundance with everything expected back. I don't like that with nothing in return. Like I want returns. I changed that from the school, right? Like with no expectation of anything in return. I was like, I want all the returns.
As part of the problem, especially with graduates in school, it's like you never charge for an adjustment. You are like just inundated with this thought of like, just if you just give, then everything will come back to you. But it's like, no, but we're also running a business. Yeah. And that's what people need to understand too, is that you are selling a service and you need to be good at selling your service, and you need to be better than everyone else in town at the physical service. So the fake it till you make it doesn't work anymore. You need to know what you're doing. You need to be very good at it. And that's one thing too, I would say to newer doctors is constantly just be practicing your skills, because that is how you'll level up and make more money. Having several practices, Matt, how has that experience been? I know you've dealt with a lot of associates. You have a very unique associate model. So would you tell everyone about your associates and your different models that you've used?
Yeah. So We have 3 practices. I've had associates in office. We've got some satellite offices, that type of stuff. And so I brought associates in, and then after a certain period of time, and I feel like that they're ready and they all want to open, that I would open an office for them in the scenario that, and this is a learning lesson for you guys for sure, a scenario where I was the guy that foot the bill. So for 2 of the offices, I'm 100% owner. Where I exited one recently. I was 100% owner, and he worked in the office, made a salary, and then we split the profits. I collected more of a percentage of the profits than he did, but he got a base salary, and that was a really good, successful model for some years. And then I've done it where it didn't work as well, where I had a guy that I brought in and paid him a salary, and because he was happy with the salary, he never grew the practice. And so it was bumpy. So he and I had bumped together there. He wanted to change marketing to a different style of marketing, and it just wasn't working. And so I would say that, like, what I learned in that, there's a whole lot of lessons, but what I've learned in that is that if you're associating with somebody or you're going to be an associate for somebody, you got to align in belief systems and like what you think the patients need and why do they need care, and the philosophies have to be aligned, because you can put techniques and get them together. That will eventually, you can work on. Systems you can work, but what you don't always have is, can the associate match the lead doctor's work ethic? And I'll be honest, if you're not the owner, probably not. You're probably not going to work as hard as they are. But could you try? Could you see what that looks like? And I learned that that's not always the thing when they don't have as much skin in the game.
Sure. Yeah. And that's why I like profit sharing too, like you mentioned, because if associates wanted to have their own practice, they would have their own practice, which means they would work just as hard as we did. And so I think that's where a lot of chiropractors get it wrong, is expecting your associate to act the same way as you do. So that's why profit sharing is a very unique and also a great idea and model, because it does give them more skin in the game. So yeah,
it allows them to be. Here's the thing: who you going to bet on? You and me are going to go into a game. I'm betting on me,
right,
100% of the time. So if in a profit sharing model, I'll take a lower salary if you tell me to bet on myself, because I know what I'm willing to do.
Right.
I know what you're willing to do. I can't depend on you. I mean, I can't on you, but in general. But you know what I mean? And so, like, if you're a new doc and you're looking at these, like, I have these associates that come in and they're wanting these huge salaries. And I'm like, for what? What you don't, how about this? How about we get you a decent baseline? And then we say, let's profit share, because you're hungry and you're out there hustling and you're growing, and then you get to taste the fruits of your labor. That tastes a lot better when you that way than just getting the check.
Yeah, I've paid associates 3 different ways. And my last one had a higher salary and then like an individual bonus system on like her personal collections, and that didn't work. And now with my associate, it's like, okay, she gets a bonus on total office collections. So when we're both hustling and we're both working harder and the office is growing, she's making more money. I'm also making more money. So it's a win-win, as opposed to just coming in, getting a higher base salary, and then like we get nothing in return. So that's also a great point, making associates like a win-win model for owner and associate too.
It creates a team, and so they're willing to look at where are we weak. I need to get better at that. We need to get better at that. This slipped through the cracks. I promise you this: when it's a team and the phone's ringing, the associate will, and they're profit sharing, they'll help answer the phone, no problem.
Yes. It's like, how close am I to my bonus? What do I need to do? Where can we find 10 more patients? Right? Yeah, exactly. I made a joke to Matt before we even started. I said, anytime I think that my life is hard, I just call Matt, because I realize he's gone through so much stuff, just not just the Blue Cross thing, just with associates and in general. And but he's so resilient and he just overcomes everything. And honestly, he's one of the most successful chiropractors that I know to this date. And one last question for you, Matt, and thanks so much for sharing your story. I know it's going to resonate with a lot of people, but if I were to ask you, what is one decision that you've made in your life that really helped align your life for success, what comes to mind?
A decision that you made in your life that aligns yourself for success.
Yes.
I think that it's the I think it's exactly what you just said, resiliency. Like I won't be stopped. This is what I will find a way. There is a way. I am a father of 4 kids. I don't come from a whole lot of financial background. I come from a town of 2,000 people. Like I mean, in high school, if you heard me, my accent is completely different than it used to be. I will tell you that I have a vision of what my dream is to be and who is Matt Griswold by the time he turns 80. And I'm going towards that. And so I think that holding a vision of who I want to be and what will I be when I get there is super important for me. And it's one of my most important focuses is that I have a person that I want to be, and I will achieve him. And I will help make him, whether it be from the Lord's graces, hard knocks. What does that look like? I don't know the answer, but I tell you that I am going towards this person that I'm creating. And I'm fully committed for that.
Amazing. Love it. All right. Well, thank you so much. You guys give Dr. Matt a follow on Instagram. I know his office is 918 Chiropractic. What's your personal Instagram?
It is Dr. Matt at 918 Chiropractic. Really.
That's what I thought. Okay, awesome. And we'll be sure to put that in the show notes. And thanks again for tuning in. If you like this episode, please share it with your friends on social media. We'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in to Aligned for Success. If today's episode resonated with you, please be sure to subscribe and leave a review. This helps other chiropractors find their way to practice freedom too. Remember, true success comes from when your practice aligns with your life's purpose. Until next time, I'm Dr. Nikki Cottis, reminding you that a thriving practice and a fulfilling life go hand in hand. See you next week.